business news now. Charles Pellegrin is with me here on set. He's coming back to the US government shutdown. That deal could potentially, anyway, bring an end to it. What's been the market impact, first of all?
Well, so just to come back on the actual bill, it cleared by the Senate with the help of 8 Democrats. That will head to a vote in the House of Representatives as early as Wednesday, where Speaker Mike Johnson expects it to pass quickly. It will then head to President Donald Trump's desk for signature. The news that the longest U.S. government shutdown could come to an end has been received with a sigh of relief on the stock market. So with the major indices on Wall Street closing the Monday session higher, as you can see there, the increased likelihood of seeing a functioning government again was a huge boost, notably because it means investors will once again have access to key government data on inflation and jobs, for instance. That momentum, though, hasn't been sustained in Asia this Tuesday, as a Wall Street Journal report saying China could restrain the flow of rare earth exports to the U.S. has raised concerns about that trade deal reached by the two superpowers earlier this month. You can see the Shanghai Composite down 0.4%. In Europe this morning, though, the optimism seen in Wall Street is being felt at the open. You can see the FTSE in London up 0.8% higher.
So what could the impact of this US shutdown be on the US economy then, Sean?
Well, it's not only the longest U.S. shutdown in history, it could also be the one with the biggest impact, not just because of its length, but also because more agencies were affected than in the second longest shutdown, which took place during Trump's first presidency. That's why Goldman Sachs, the bank, for instance, believes GDP growth in the last quarter of 2025 could be 1.15%. Lower. The Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan agency that looks into the impact of government finances, was asked to make its own assessment at the end of last month, and they came up with different scenarios, including one in the event the shutdown ends on November 12th, so this Wednesday. And they see a 1.5% hit to quarterly GDP in the last quarter of 2025 because of the shutdown, followed then by a 2.2% boost the next quarter, and then a stabilization in the following quarters. Behind those numbers is the fact that any government spending, for example, on employee compensation for those furloughed workers or goods and services will then be paid retroactively. But not all expected GDP will be recovered. The CBO expects $7 to $14 billion of output to be completely lost in this shutdown process.
Yeah, one of the most affected sectors has been the airline industry, hasn't it?
The U.S. airspace is regulated and monitored by the U.S. government, and it's also been affected by the shutdown, notably because air traffic controllers have been ordered to continue working without pay. And for safety reasons, this has led the Federal Aviation Administration to reduce flight capacity by 10%. So this means that on Monday, for instance, around 2,100 flights were canceled in the country. That's out of just under 26,000 scheduled flights, so about 8.2% of them, with Chicago O'Hare Airport seeing the most cancellations, 25% of flights canceled, then followed by Boston Logan and New York LaGuardia. Bad weather in Chicago having an impact as well. These cancellations could affect lawmakers who are attempting to get to Washington before that key vote on Wednesday. Mike Johnson actually urging them to return as soon as they can. Without a deal, restrictions will have to intensify further on air travel, this ahead of the very busy Thanksgiving travel weekend. This was no doubt one of the factors pressuring lawmakers to find a way out of the impasse or to soften their stances, with airlines intensely lobbying senators over the past few weeks.
And talking of busy, we're going to take you to China for this next story. The country there is marking the world's largest consumer holiday.
Known as Singles Day, the event was popularized by Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba and has since grown larger than both Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. Originally just one day long, this year the holiday has been extended to a massive 5 weeks, with businesses hoping for a much-needed revenue boost, but with sales mostly taking place online. Brick-and-mortar shops still face an uphill battle and have been forced to adapt to China's increasingly online and sluggish economy. From Beijing, our correspondents Yan Kamenzin Brumbi and Udlin Boisult sent this report.
For e-commerce influencer Angela, now is the busiest time of year.
Hello， 朋友们，今天是一期我的双11购物开箱，然后来。
She spent the last few weeks finding the best Singles Day deals for her fans. With China's domestic consumption lagging behind global averages, this year's discounts are all the more important.
对，我觉得现在以前
Before, everyone thought Singles Day only meant November the 11th itself, but now all platforms want to drive more sales, so the pre-sale period is quite long. Singles Day has really become a fixed consumer holiday for Chinese people.
消费节日的概念了。
In the first 3 weeks of Singles Day sales, e-commerce giant Taobao recorded more than 100 million orders from new users, a figure that was boosted by their new instant commerce strategy that involves packages arriving at your doorstep in under an hour.
Here we send goods out, collect returns, and ship things all across the country. Of course, it's had an impact. Ever since Taobao started it, it's been huge for China's economy.
But not everyone is seeing record sales. Many brick-and-mortar shops struggling to make ends meet have been forced to adapt and are now selling items via online live stream.
She's showing the contents of the book. If I want to buy it, I click this shopping cart icon. People have already gotten into the habit of buying things online. We need to reach those online customers too. If we didn't do these sales, our sales wouldn't be high enough. We might not even afford the store rent.
In October, China's government vowed to vigorously boost domestic consumption. As this year's Singles Day sales continue, shop owners hope they too can see the benefits of China's planned economic growth.
Back to you, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Michelle Pellegrin.